There were so many threes early, Kolsky. They weren't utilizing the fact that, or exploiting the fact that the Bulls have the 26th best defense in the NBA. They were missing shots, and they were taking more bad shots, or at least deep shots. And what does Jimmy Butler do? Starts attacking the rim, gets to the free throw line 13 times, starts basically setting hard screens to open up Steph, which allowed him to knock down some three-pointers. Hell, one of Butler's hard screens sent Jimmy to the free throw line. I mean, this guy is a foul magnet. He knows how to play the game the right way. Screen appreciator here, also someone that will gladly say, and I mean, you were all about Jimmy Butler. I was very hesitant. In the last couple of days when I read more and more about what he brings to the table, I was, starting to change my opinion to this could be a nice signing. I think it's a good one. A+, man. A+ in terms of how he played today. One game against the Bulls, but give him a letter grade.
Boy, I'll give him an A.
Give me an A? Come on, give me the plus. What else he need to do?
Keep playing, get in better shape.
He hasn't played in forever, and he comes out, plays 29 minutes, goes 7 of 12 from the floor, 11 of 13 from the charity stripe.
I gave him an A, reactionary Chuck. Calm down. Listen.
Get ahead of your skis.
I'm not going to get ahead of my skis. I will say, that is probably the worst it gets for Jimmy. Not that he's going to score a minimum of 25 points every night, but you could tell, especially in that first quarter, man, when he had to come out about 4 minutes into the game, there were a couple trips up and down the floor where he was kind of behind the play twice in a row. He's not in game shape, which is, like you said, it's to be expected. He hasn't played in a long time. All of that said, we did see tonight all the reasons why Jimmy Butler makes this team better. The way they came back in this game was by finally attacking the rim and getting to the free throw line. Largely Butler, but everybody started doing it. And the thing about basketball is it's one of Steve Kerr's great philosophies, and he usually only talks about it when he's talking about the ball has energy and, movement will lead to a good shot, etc. But one of the beautiful things about the game of basketball is that it has a soul. And stuff is contagious. One player can change the demeanor of a team by playing a certain way. And that's what Jimmy Butler did in the third quarter.
As simple as that?
I mean, there's a lot to it. Look, the way Steph Curry played tonight, they probably beat the Bulls without Jimmy Butler, okay?
Amen.
But he changed the soul of the game.
The shot selection completely changed, right?
It completely changed. And sure, Steve Kerr's saying that in the locker room, but I got to believe Steve Kerr is saying that in the halftime locker room almost every night all year. Don't fall in love with the three. Attack the basket. There are other ways to score, and on and on. And this team has deeply struggled to make that change on the floor, and Jimmy Butler just makes it for you instantly. You don't have to do anything. So that fundamental change, and then just the simple fact, though, he and Curry were, I think, 59 together tonight, but you can pretty much count on 50 points from two guys every night going forward that they're healthy, and that changes your basketball team. Andrew Wiggins, good as he was, you couldn't count on really anything, but certainly couldn't count on 25 or make up the 50 from whatever Steph has. It's just a different thing, and it's pretty exciting to see. And again, he's only going to get in better shape. He's only going to understand what this team is trying to do more. And I think the other thing we saw tonight is that Jimmy Butler is not a selfish player. This whole saga and the fact that, look, he disgruntled his way.
In the first half, he needed to be more selfish there.
Maybe, but that's the thing is, he's not that guy. He can do that, and he will do that if you need him to do that. But I think his off-court behavior, the behavior he has used to get what he wants in several situations now, which is traded or moved along, it does rub people the wrong way, and I can't fault them for it because it's not the best. It's a scene, and he knows what he's doing, and he does it, and it can mess up a team. But that's not the situation the Warriors are in. The Warriors are in the situation of happy Jimmy Butler, and happy Jimmy Butler is not only an absolute assassin on the floor, he's also a delightful human being. Like, if you watch his post-game interview tonight, he's feeling happy. He's joking with Bonte and Mully and Festus.
Man, everyone was happy today. I mean, Steph had a look on his face that I hadn't seen in quite some time after that Butler dunk when Pajimski spun it ahead to him. There were a lot of plays. And first of all, someone tell me if the microphones have matched up. I'm not going to do a full 35-minute show if the mics sound awful the entire time.
I was hearing an echo and it's gone. So if that's gone? Any consolation.
Okay. I figured that out. I was going behind the scenes as best I could. And I guess the technician in me figured that thing out. But some of the plays that stand out to me is like game changers in this one. There was a play where Curry misses a three. I can't remember who got the offensive rebound. They miss a shot. And then Curry flies in, gets the rebound. One of the toughest rebounds he's grabbed all season. It was like a game 5 in the Western Conference Finals rebound in there with the trees.
Yeah.
And then he misses. And guess who goes up there, gets the board, and tips it in? Jimmy Butler. It's just the easy stuff, like getting to the line 13 times. And Wiggins was doing a really good job of that too. It just felt differently the way that he was playing tonight. I mean, how many threes did he end up taking in the game? He took 1. Wiggins is someone that'll take 7 or 8. And granted, hit 38% of them, but it's what you said about rubbing off on the rest of the team. I thought Pod started getting to the bucket more, dishing out some assists. He had a great game, 16 points, 7 of 11 from the floor, 2 of 5 from 3, 7 assists, 5 rebounds. So does Jimmy unlock a little bit of Pods playing with him? I'll tell you this, it was the second unit that I thought benefited the most from Jimmy Butler, not just Steph Curry in this game, which is what we needed from Jimmy Butler. We needed that second unit score, and we needed that legit second score, which he was today, second on the team with 25 points.
And it was such an easy 25. Like, there was no point in this game where Jimmy Butler went crazy, which he's more than capable of doing. He just took the shots that were available to him and drew a bunch of fouls. And it's not just that he then goes to the free throw line and he's like an 80+% free throw shooter most of his career, but I think I pulled up his stats for the last 4 seasons before this one, because obviously this one has been weird. And he's basically 26-6, 50% from the field, and 7 of 8 from the free throw line. That's so different than anything the Warriors have had since Kevin Durant was here and Klay was healthy. I mean, that's just in terms of level of player. Again, no shade to Andrew Wiggins. He did a lot of wonderful things. And then we also saw the beautiful backdoor interception. You know, like Jimmy is a really good one-on-one defender, but
he's excellent, man. There was one where he almost got the takeaway. They spun right into him. You could see real time the anticipation. And another thing that's so nice about Butler, and you know this, is that he gets better as the game goes along. He kind of dissects it as it goes. And then come third and fourth quarter, he plays his best basketball. And again, what the Warriors have been struggling with this season, go back a couple games ago against Utah. They were the only team in the last, 162 games to blow an 11-point lead with under 3 minutes left. Like, this is what we need, a second half onslaught. And he helped lead the way today, down 24 at one point. A huge run in the second half to bust this thing wide open. We're getting more into the play of Jimmy Butler. Why it went awry in Miami is now there's a full report out from The Athletic. And quite frankly, it makes me feel a little bit better is Jimmy being a locker room guy. Because, the Heat culture, they demand a lot. We'll talk Warriors culture coming up. Butler ball is here. Quentin Post, another good game. And then we will also get into the buyout market as the Warriors do need some more players to fill out this roster. Locked On Warriors continues after this.
And most importantly, he a dog.
We need more dogs.
All right, today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at Robinhood. With Robinhood Gold, you can now enjoy the VIP treatment, receiving a 3% IRA match on retirement contributions. The privileges of the very privileged are no longer exclusive. With Robinhood Gold, your annual IRA contributions are boosted by 3%. Plus, you also get 4% APY on your cash in non-retirement accounts. That's over 8 times the national savings average. The perks of the high net worth are now available for any net worth. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. To receive your 3% boost on annual IRA contributions, sign up at Robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. Rates subject to change. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold at $5 a month for 1 year from your first match. Must keep funds in IRA for 5 years. Go to Robinhood.com/boost. Over 8 times the national average savings account interest rate claim is based on data from FDIC as of November 18, 2024. Robinhood Financial LLC Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC. Let's get back to the show.
Destroy Jimmy and Domino's. I know Jimmy drinks great wine.
All right, so, man. I'm just trying to say something to begin this segment that doesn't force me to get ahead of my skis here. Because that's the thing. It's one game against the Chicago Bulls. Quite frankly, this is a team you're supposed to beat by 21 when Steph Curry goes 8 of 16 from 3. And Chicago sent LaVine out the door. You're supposed to take down this team by a ton. But it's the way they did it, the physicality, the 44 rebounds to the 31, and it's the switch that you saw in game to the way that they started just, I thought, really utilizing Jimmy Butler's strength and becoming a team that started attacking the basket more, that started getting good looks. And by the end of it, it led to, 3-point bombs from Quentin Post because you're playing inside-out basketball. Post goes 7 of 10, 4 of 7 from 3, 18 points in the game. So let's pick it up with more Jimmy Butler talk. Leaves Miami with a sour taste in everyone's mouth that was involved in this. Due to the full reports, it sounds like it ended essentially at a final effort meeting where basically the divorce papers had been filed by both parties, but they go for one final cup of coffee, does Pat Riley and Jimmy Butler, to see if they could connect on a personal level. Pat Riley starts bringing up the fact that Jimmy Butler's father passed away, gives him parenting advice. Now, this is disputed from the Heat's camp. It's kind of a he said situation, but Butler called him unhinged. He's like, this guy seems like he's unhinged and unwell. I got to get the hell out of here. You would hope that, playing for maybe a more players GM in Mike Dunleavy will help him out in that situation. You heard about the fact that Riley was changing rules down the stretch of his time there, where Butler was allowed to take separate transportation and ride share to the games and not have to ride the team bus. All of a sudden they said, no, Jimmy, you're riding the team bus with everyone else. Nope, suspension. Also, with his ankle rehab, like to do it in Miami in their facilities there because they had more amenities than on the road in the hotels. And they said, nope, Jimmy, you got to be with the team. And all these things started leading to suspensions. And all these things are byproducts of Jimmy being Jimmy. And that's the big question that I have for you, Kolsky, is in this Warriors system, forget the Heat culture, how does Jimmy being Jimmy work for this team?
I don't think it's so much different on a good day from Draymond being Draymond. Listen, I can't say that I know the intimate details of who rides what transportation vehicle to the game. If the Heat gave Jimmy those consolations at some point, I guess I would say they probably should have known that taking them away would make him feel some type of way. I guess you can question whether you ever give any player that level of right. On the other hand, every superstar in the NBA is given a significant level of power just because of who they are. That's how the league works. It's built on its superstars, and those guys you don't think LeBron gets special treatment? You don't think Steph Curry gets special treatment? Hell, Draymond Green is part of trade negotiations for the Golden State Warriors. He's no Jimmy Butler, with all due respect. So it's hard for me to comment on that part of it. The Pat Riley part of it, he's probably not unhinged per se. He is 80-something. And I think he probably took an approach that he would have appreciated. And I think there's a pretty significant disconnect between how Pat Riley understands being a man and how Jimmy Butler understands being a man.
It's
I just
old school
know,
against new school, right?
yeah, I just think that's a tough one for Pat Riley to try to do. Now, again, I'm not trying to say Jimmy Butler's been perfect here, because certainly you can find fault with plenty of things that he's done.
He broke the rule. I mean, if you're one of those, hey, you abide by the rules no matter what. Pat Riley's the boss. He says you do this, you do that. I mean, Jimmy Butler didn't do it. They said one of the anecdotes in the report was that when they announced that he was out of the starting lineup coming off the bench, he thought they were joking. And so at the end, where everyone puts up free throws, he just walked out. He said, I'm not shooting free throws. I'm out of here. I mean, technically speaking, if you want to get deep into the to the rules book, you should probably shoot your free throws there and do what you need to do. But hey, if he helps this team win and he comes in aggressive and we know he has a chip on his shoulder, that's one of the reasons why I love this trade so much for this year. Now that the signing 2 years down the road, we'll see how his body holds up. It's never the greatest move in the world, historically speaking, to extend someone that's 35 years old with that much money. But I said it on the last show, man, if there's someone that can be effective at 37 years of age just because of the way that he plays and his mindset and his mentality and the way that he trains and keeps his body right, it is Jimmy Butler. And by the way, I said like 45-15 second half run. It was a 56-15 second half run that opened up this game. Thing of beauty.
Yeah, and it was both ends, and it was done with a lot of attack in the basket, which, man, you love to see it. And I expect to see it a lot more. And remember, this team is still without Jonathan Kuminga, who's a significant piece. Like, I really think they can be really good. If they can get and stay healthy, I'm not ruling out anything. I mean, by no means am I making them a favorite, but I'm not ruling out anything. If they can get and stay healthy, and you enter the playoffs with Butler, Steph, Green, Kuminga, and, you know, whoever's shooting the ball better between Buddy and Podziemski that night as your closing lineup, I think you could beat a lot of basketball teams. I really do. So this was a good start, but I expect to see stuff like this against better teams and to see them. I think they're going to surprise some people. I really do.
I like that there's another on the floor coach. He was coaching up Draymond after one play. Draymond fired one deep to Jimmy, and it hit a popcorn vendor in the face. And Jimmy's like, don't do that. And you know Draymond's going to listen. I mean, Jimmy's older than Draymond, right? Jimmy is a seasoned vet, 6-time All-Star, 5-time all-defensive team, and he knows how to play the game the right way. He has that cerebral aspect that Draymond Green also has, and it's another coach on the floor. It's another attacker on the floor, and man, did this one feel like that New Orleans game early in the season where you were down by 20 and all of a sudden you're up by 20. It felt like good vibes. You saw Butler just exploit switches. You saw the great game examination that he has. And that's the biggest thing. Like Udonis Haslem said it the other day on one of the ESPN pregame shows, is that he studies the game in real time. He finds out how the game is going, what someone's weakness is, how to play this game, and, you know, day to day, figure out how to affect the game with this. And for those of you listening on the audio podcast, his brain, man, does a lot of his work that isn't flashy. You know, it's not the flashiest thing in the world watching him play.
No, he's just a tough SOB, and he really gets the game. It's why he's always been one of my favorite players and why I was so excited to watch this. And I just, again, unselfish. And look, Steph Curry can go off for 30-something any night against anybody, no matter who's on the floor with or against him. But I don't think it's a coincidence that the first night there's another legitimate primetime scorer on the floor. He's got enough space to go off. It really changes everything for this team.
Yeah. Other box score guys from the game today. Buddy Hield had 14 on 4 of 9 from 3.
He's back, right? Buddy's back.
That's 3 games in a row, man. 3 games in a row. He's been dialing it up. Speaking of dialing it up, Quentin Post, not the dunking Dutchman, but the dialing it up Dutchman. With 4 threes in the game today. He had 18. So he's been
workshop
from the Bulls. Yeah, and then 16 from Pajimski off the bench. And overall for the Warriors, doing the math here, 12 different dubs scored in the game today, 50% from the floor, 19 of 48 from deep. And that secret sauce we talk about, it's no longer Buddy hitting 18 because they lost against the Jazz when he hit that number. There's one thing that proves to be undefeated this season. It's when the Warriors have 30-plus assists. They win, man. They just win. Let's continue the conversation, putting a bow on this game and looking ahead to the future with the buyout market. Names like Larry Nance, Ben Simmons is off the table. Kevin Knox is in the system. Could he be brought up? How are the Warriors going to kind of put the final puzzle pieces together as they try to make a run at an NBA championship with their new big 3? Jimmy Butler, 25 points. He is a happy man right now.
Very, very, very happy that I'm not getting suspended no more.
Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at Gametime. If you're looking for tickets to your next big event, definitely take a look at the Gametime app and download the app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for a $20 off your first purchase. Here's what is great about the Gametime app. The app does all the hard work for you. It curates the best deals so you don't have to waste time searching through endless ticket listings. I've been using it for a while, and I love the fact that you can see your seat before you buy your tickets. You get a full panoramic view. You know where you're sitting, especially if you're on the road going to a visitor's stadium. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. They also have the lowest price ticket guarantee. They'll refund you 110% of the difference if you find a better deal somewhere else. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last-minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. Let's get back to the show and talk some more Golden State Warriors.
Who cares now? Because I'm here, and I would like to think that I am wanted here.
Yeah, Jimmy Butler being wanted by the Warriors enough to where they gave him an $121 million extension. And I don't know when went behind the scenes when we talk about the reports that came out from Windhorst that said he did not want to sign an extension for Golden State. Butler is presser, believe whoever you want. Definitely a he said situation always with Butler. But his side of the story was I didn't say anything, clearly, because I'm here. Right? I signed the extension. But I think the Warriors' belief in him has just put that extra motivation behind him to go out and play strong from day one. I mean, this is someone that hasn't played in how long? Weeks. Hasn't played consistently since before Christmas, pretty much. It was like a few games here and there for the Heat before he was suspended again. And he comes out today in mid-season form. If there's one thing I know about Jimmy Butler, first time I saw him play was at Marquette. I've told you guys I was a big Bearcats fan growing up, and he used to come into town for Marquette and Jay Crowder and Vander Blue. They had some really good players, and Jimmy Butler was just kind of like, he was just scrappy. He was all right. Never thought he was going to be a 5-6-time NBA All-Star, whatever it is. And then his draft report comes out, and it's like, yeah, he could be a really good role player. Scrappy, that's the word that's attached to him, but he's not going to be someone that shocks you. There's a reason why he's going 30th. He's not going to be an all-star. And he always proves you wrong, man. He always proves you wrong. It is impressive stuff. Enough about Jimmy Butler because he's still the second scorer. The leading scorer is Steph Curry. And he's had his games this year that make him look like Father Time is catching up to him very quickly. And then he has games like this where he goes 8 of 16 from 3, 10 of 19 from the floor, dishes out 6 assists. You saw him crash the glass that one play. He had 5 rebounds total in the game. You see this from Steph Curry, And you wonder how much of it can just be attributed to he did not have a ton of help before.
Yeah.
Does one player change your mindset on that?
To a degree, when it's a player as good as Jimmy Butler, I think it does. But also, you got to get I mean, getting Jimmy Butler changes things today. If you really want to make a run at this, you got to get Kuminga back, and you got to get him playing the way he was playing before he got hurt. And that's when I think this team becomes something truly interesting. Again, if you make me bet my money on it, nobody's as good as the Oklahoma City Thunder. But that's a young team. That's a team that has shown in the past they can be bullied a little bit if you have the right group of guys.
Chet back, that doesn't help down the road, but
no, listen, again, on paper and on the court this year, the Thunder are the best team in the West, full stop. But the best team in the West over the course of the regular season doesn't always go to the NBA Finals, you know? And if you put Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Jimmy Butler, Jonathan Kuminga on the floor to close games, I think you've got something that can go toe-to-toe with any team in the Western Conference. But they've got to get healthy. And that doesn't just mean getting Kuminga. That means Steph, Draymond, and Butler staying healthy. And that also means, like, having Moody and Podziemski and Looney and, like, all the guys that make up a bench that can still be quite good now that Butler's here. Like, that's a second unit. If Kuminga's on it, like, you can still get a lot out of that.
What you need, man, to me, is between Pods and Moody, you need one of them to have a game like Podziemski had today. And Moody's been the better player. I mean, they've both been awesome, but Moody's been so good this past month. Today was the first game where, at least shooting the ball, he wasn't knocking down anything. Goes 0 of 5 from the floor, only had 4 points compared to Podziemski's 16, 7, and 5. But between one of those two, one needs to give you that surge off the bench, I think. And if you can get both playing well on the same night, and you have Kuminga, Jimmy Butler, all of a sudden we're talking, man. I mean, Peyton's minutes were down to 9. Trace's minutes at this point down to 4. Looney played 11 minutes. Like, you got your rotation. The strength in numbers is going to shorten a little bit just due to Butler coming in, I think. And more so Anderson and Schroeder and Waters going out the door.
Yeah, I not that there was a fight on this, but I think part of the appeal of this trade to the front office is to make Steve Kerr's life not let Steve Kerr play 12 guys, frankly. Because it's hard when you have 12 guys that legitimately deserve playing time, which is where we started this season. Like, it's not like this was not a year where I felt like Kerr was playing guys who didn't deserve playing time. You know, I might have quibbled with who got how many minutes, but there were 12 guys ready to play and NBA players when this season started. I think we've seen a variety of reasons that doesn't work, and that rotation is going to have to shorten to 8, 9, 10 come playoff time, no matter what, which is why, like, the buyout market, I don't see them doing anything. I'm not sure what they would do that would concretely make them better.
Now, it can be a debate for all. I mean, the logical move is to get someone with some size, right? And Larry Nance is a name. We've seen him over the years with the Cavs. He's someone that can make quick decisions, is actually knocking down threes at a pretty good clip this season, well over, I think it's 45% on the season on 1.3 threes on 3 attempts per game. So he's someone that can keep you honest, stretch the floor a little bit, gives you a little bit of size. Kelly Olynyk is a name that could potentially be brought up. But I think the most obvious pick to have a contract, whether it's 10-day, whether it's whatever, and it can't be two-way because of his service time, but it's Kevin Knox, man. I think he's earned it. I think the fact that he's a former top 10 pick goes to show you that he has some talent. He's definitely got size at 6'9". He's not going to be a replicate of Andrew Wiggins. He's a completely different style of player, but he's someone that can get to that mid-range, knock down some buckets with his length, get threes off over a collapsing defense, and he's actually knocking them down. That's been the biggest knock on Knox over his career. Is it's like, dude, you're big. Use some of your size, and he just kind of hovers around the 3-point line, chucks him up a ton, shoots more threes than he gets rebounds at 6'9", and he's always shot him at like a 32, 34% clip. This year, it's closer to 40%. Is that real? I don't know. He had a good summer for the Warriors. And the other thing is, we heard Doris Burke saying it all summer. He was attacking the glass, man. He was doing it again in the G League, double-doubles. So I think that is someone that you give an opportunity to have one of the last seats on your bench before we start talking buyout market. Thoughts on that?
I would tend to agree. I mean, in 10 seconds, I don't think Nance will get bought out. I mean, if he does, it's kind of intriguing, but I'm not sure he's good enough to, like, you're going to take minutes from Quentin Post, which is fine in theory, but like, how much better is Larry Nance than Quentin Post? He's a little better. He's more experienced. I don't know that I'm doing that, even if it was available, and I don't think it will be available. The one name I've heard that might get bought out that would be interesting is Malcolm Brogdon, just because a legitimate point guard would be nice. But I don't know that he'll be bought out either. So center does make the most sense in a way on paper, because it's the position where none of the three guys you have is exactly a superstar, but you're not getting a superstar on the buyout market. So I tend to think they're rolling with what they have.
Marcus Smart, that's not a name that does anything. Simmons, a Clipper, by the way. It doesn't seem like the Warriors were in the sweepstakes, but
you don't want that.
Can you imagine Marcus Smart, Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green on the same team? That would be interesting defensively to watch, to say the least.
Yeah, but isn't Marcus Smart just Gary Payton who thinks he's a good shooter?
I mean, I guess we tend to downplay Gary Payton a little bit and kind of the tenured role that he has on this team.
Well, I think my point is just that Marcus Smart's role on the Warriors would largely be as a defensive specialist, right? Yeah. And they got one of those who's really good and knows his role. And Marcus Smart has struggled at times in his career knowing his role. So, there's nobody out there. If Brook Lopez was out there, we'd be having a different conversation. But there's
nobody out there that gets us too excited. But they gotta get someone, basically, or else we're gonna be seeing a lot of Jackson Rowe, and maybe that's what we see this season. We saw 4 more minutes of him today, knocks down a bucket. He had 2 points in the game. Everyone scored that played except for Pat Spencer. So again, man, golf clap to the Warriors. Great debut from Jimmy Butler, 25 points in the game. We will be back here to break down another hopeful Warriors win. This is Locked On Dubs, free and available wherever you get your audio podcasts and on YouTube. Peace.
Jimmy